Hey everybody, it's your girl PC in DC. Thanks so much for clicking on this video and hanging out with me for a little bit. Well, today we're on our way to Boston because that's just kind of where I wanted to spend my birthday this year. So when I left Ronald Reagan Airport and arrived at Boston Logan International Airport, I waited for over an hour for the hotel to send a shuttle for me, and it never came. So I figured, I need to do something instead of just standing still in one spot for over an hour. So I was told to catch a Silver Line train. That's what I did.
This is, okay.
You're gonna go down those stairs over there.
Okay.
And you're gonna catch the Red Line inbound, one stop downtown Closet, and change to Orange Line.
Okay. And what is the orange line called? Just orange.
Orange Line.
That's it. Okay.
Just
Okay.
Orange Line.
All right.
I finally made my way to the Orange Line train, just like the bus driver told me. But if anybody has ever been on a city metro, you know that a train always has two names. And it depends on which direction the train is going in. So if the train is going uptown, it's the uptown train. And if it's going downtown, then it's the downtown train. So that little bit of information, the bus driver forgot to give me, and I just figured that's okay. I'll find a station attendant and I'll find which direction Orange Line train I need to get to. And of course, I couldn't find a station attendant anywhere. And I didn't even realize that at this portion, my phone was still recording in my pocket. And so as I was standing there studying the metro train maps, this woman with her arms heavy with bags, she saw me, kind of leaned over and studying, trying to figure out which direction Orange Line train I needed to get to. And she asked if I needed help. And she was really, 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 really caring. I mean, when you're new to a city, you try to get directions from the locals, and they're so familiar. They don't always give you all the pieces that you need to get to where you need to go. But this lady gave me totally different instructions. She told me to take the Green Line train. Well, the lady on the bus didn't say anything about a Green Line train. But you know what? This isn't my first rodeo with a metro. I know that at some point, I knew then that I would get to where I needed to go. So I decided to listen to this lady. Her name was Pat. She was so generous with her time. And she explained everything to me. And in the end, Pat was right.
Everyone, for the Orange Line, you have to rest at the station or walk to it.
That's what they said, I have to walk to it. So,
But if you're going to Crawford Street, it's best to take the Green Line. So you have to get off at Back Bay and walk down to the station.
okay. I'm not from here. I'm not from here. But I thank you. Thank you very
This
much.
is the easiest way.
Okay.
This is the easiest way.
So what's there? Is there like the park and the hotels and all of that?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Where the big library is.
Yeah, I was trying to get to the Marriott.
I know where to go. If you want to get on the Orange Line, I can tell you where to get off. But you have to walk down to the station and then get on the station.
Okay, then I have to pay for it, right?
No, you can walk through it. It's just a walk distance.
Oh, okay. I don't want to keep you. I know you have somewhere you want to go.
It's not up my here.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Finally, I'm on the Green Line train. Made it there. Pat actually stood and waved at me as I got on the train to make sure I got on the right train. God bless her. So I'm there, I'm waiting, I'm hopeful. But here's the thing, guys. I've been on Metro, oh my gosh, since I was a kid. I have never seen a train conductor hide behind a torn black shower curtain because he didn't want his face. Now, mind you, I didn't start recording until I sat down, so he doesn't know I'm actually recording, but I just thought that was strange. I've been on Metro in DC, New York, and Chicago. Never seen the black shower curtain thing. You know, every city has their flavor. Now at this point, let me go ahead and give a shout out to Boston Metro, or the train. As long as you travel underground, you take the underground trains and the train called the bus line, it's all free. And there I made it to my hotel on the 35th floor. It was awesome, beautiful views. I've never been up that high. I met up with my friend from over 30 years ago. We decided to grab a bite to eat, and then we decided to tour the city. Boston has beautiful gardens. Beautiful gardens, beautiful manicured trees, lots of walkable spaces. It's really nice. And lots of street music too. Even at night, the city, the skyline, the parks, the gardens, the sculptures, everything was just so incredibly beautiful. Who knew? That's the Boston Marathon Bombing Memorial. At night, it's even lit up in a beautiful cobalt blue. That's the Massachusetts State House. And that's Boston City Hall. And that's Samuel Adams? I didn't know he was from Boston. Now I know. Well, after all that walking around, we finally made our way to Quincy Market. There, you can find any type of food, any type of cuisine you have a taste for. I mean, they had it all. We ended up settling for something Mediterranean. Freedom trails. I've never seen those medallions on the ground before. My friend Christy told me what they were. Basically, if you follow the brick that comes from the freedom trails, it'll take you along the city to all of the historical sites, mostly Black historical sites. It was really
Use
cool.
the left lane to turn left on Tremont Street.
After taking in all the sights and sounds of the city, we decided to jump on a bus trip up to Cape Cod, where we then picked up a ferry, went across Cape Cod, and landed on Martha's Vineyard. It was really nice.
gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you aboard the Island Queen for our trip today. At this time, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the vessel and her safety equipment. This snack bar is located on the main rollover deck, serving a wide variety of drinks and snacks. The restrooms are also located on the main deck, with the men's on the starboard or right-hand side and the women's on the port or left-hand side.
It's too bad. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Due to reduced visibility caused by the heavy fog, we will be sounding the ship's foghorn at frequent intervals throughout today's trip. For those passengers on the bow and on the outer decks, this foghorn will be very loud. If you wish to move to a different location, please do so now. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause, and we will steer the foghorn as soon as visibility improves. Thank you, and please stand by for the ship's foghorn.
I'm gonna sit right here and soak it all in.
Reservation online at islandqueen.com and select Manage by Booking. Changes to reservations should be made at least 30 minutes prior to departure and are based on available sailings at that time. Now please check your seat and surrounding area for any personal items, and be sure to watch your head and step on the stairway and gangway as you exit the vessel. Thank you again for joining us, and enjoy your time on the island.
There's people in there. There's no one in there. We're just sitting there waiting.
We're off season right now, way off season. All the crowds are gone. This is the main tourist town on the island. So in the summer, all the ferry boats drop all the thousands of people off here. It is off season now, so it's very quiet now. This town of Oak Bluffs was built for tourism. So in the wintertime, there's nothing happening out here. There's no boats, nobody in the homes, and none of the stores are open. People to do out here. Martha's Vineyard is the largest island that belongs to the state of Massachusetts. It is the third largest island off the east coast, not connected by a bridge, and it is the 58th largest island in the country. It's about 7 miles off of Cape Cod, where you just came from. It's about 23 miles across, and it's about 9 miles high. It's 98.6 square miles of land, and it's made up of 6 different towns. You're going to see them all today. There's about 23,000 people that live here year-round, and during the summer months, there's well over 250,000 people here. It gets really crowded here on the island. During the winter months, only 40% of the homes are occupied, 60% are not occupied. As you see, a lot of these houses are getting all boarded up for the winter already. And this town used to be called Cottage City. It was first occupied by Methodist people. They came out here for summer religion. And on the right-hand side, between the homes over here, you're going to see the Methodist community. You'll see the Silver Tabernacle, and you'll see the Methodist Church over there. That's where the gingerbread cottages are. When we get done with the tour today, I'm going to drop you back off in this town about 1:15. This is one of the nicer restaurants right here on the right-hand side. So if you want to go to the Lookout Tavern, that's the only restaurant that looks out over the water here. You all have a discount card that goes to a restaurant called Coupe de Ville here. So when you get back later around 1:15, you're going to spend the afternoon in this town here until you get back on the boat at 3:45. This town used to be called Cottage City because all these homes out here are just summer cottages. Nobody lives in them. They all have to shut the electricity off and drain the water. Now all these homes out here on the water got abandoned back in the Depression time. So when I was a young kid, because I was born in this town in 1957, so I grew up here all my life. And when I was a young kid, hardly anybody lived in these homes because they couldn't afford to come back here because they didn't have any money after the Depression. So most of these homes are all run down and not lived in and all dilapidated. Then in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, a lot of African Americans bought them all up. Most of these homes out here belong to African Americans now. This is the first town that African Americans settled in here. So that's why there's a lot of people, African Americans, that live in this town here. All these houses up here are summer cottages. They mostly bed and breakfasts. But the African Americans first came here with the Methodist people. They set up a laundromat here and did laundry for the Methodist people. And there's a big house up here known as the Villa Rosa, once known as the Summer White House out here. Still is very popular for famous African Americans to visit. It was once owned by Dr. Joseph Overton, and he was the Harlem civil rights leader. And back in the 60s, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spent time there, Harry Belafonte, Joe Louis, Malcolm X, Spike Lee, many others too. I can't even name them all. Now when we get back from the tour later on, if you want to go to a beach and get some shells and stuff, all these beaches are public beaches out here. So if you're not from a beach area, you get an opportunity to go on beaches here on the island. These are all public beaches on this side here. So if you want to take some time to go get some shells later on, you can do that. Right here on the right is called the Villa Rosa. This is the guy at the Summer White House right here. Still very popular to this day, but this is off season, like I said, so everything's closed down now. Back in the 1800s, African Americans were segregated to a beach down here. They couldn't even go to the white people's beach. So on the left-hand side was the white beach, and down here was the African American beach called the Inkwell. Spike Lee made a movie about this little beach right here, because Spike Lee lives in this town here. They celebrated Juneteenth out here. They celebrated the African American Film Festival. And then just about a month ago, they had a big Democratic convention out here for overachieving African American women. Big fundraiser out here on the island. Last year we just had our first attempted bank robbery. Imagine that? There was a bunch of people that came over on the ferry boat and tried to rob a bank over here. That was smart of them, huh? Plus they got caught. So that's the only really big robbery we've ever had out here. The only murder ever recorded here, except for Ted Kennedy, we had one murder ever recorded here, except for Ted Kennedy. He got away with it. Nobody's ever abducted a child on this island. That has never happened. Nobody breaks into homes now because of the door cameras and cell phones and all that. And nobody steals cars because all you can do is drive around in a circle. This is the historical zone. That big park on the right was called Cannonball Park in memory of men and women who served the Civil War. And on the left you can see the Dukes County House of Corrections. And you will see the price of gas. It's almost like California because like I said, everything is imported here. Martha's Vineyard is self-supported. You'll find out this island is self-supported. Everybody supports local out here. I don't go to the Stop and Shop. I go to a big farm to shop because we got every type of farm on this island. And we got every type of aqua farm here too because they grow everything in the water here too. So if you want to go to a restaurant, you get farm and ocean to table. We got some of the best cuisine around out here. That's how Native Americans lived out here because they had ocean and land out here. Now all these homes used to be done by whitewash. That's how my grandfather came to this island in the 1800s. He came from Quincy, Massachusetts, and he came out here to whitewash these captains' homes. Because all these English captains that settled out here, they got taught how to drag whales ashore by the Native Americans. And this town became a big whaling town because of that. And all these big wealthy captains built mansions out here. You're going to see them everywhere down by the water. They have a lot of names on them of the captains. This house on the left-hand side is a good example of one of the mansions you'll see down on the water. That guy was not a captain. His name was Dr. Daniel Fisher. He's the guy that bought all the oil from the captains out here and sold it to homes as far as Pennsylvania, to light homes and streetlights. This is Main Street, Edgartown. The company gives you 50 minutes down here, 50. It's a very small town. You can see the water down in front of us. On the left is the historical whaling church. This is all under preservation here. The Daniel Fisher house, this, and the other house in the back. On the right is the Catholic church. You can see the water down there that separates this island from Chappaquiddick. Chappaquiddick's on the other side. There's a little ferry boat that goes back and forth over to that island. You'll see it. The big town hall is right there on the right-hand side, the big white building with the ship on it. The courthouse is right here, the brick building. That's where they made the Chappaquiddick story, and that's really where he testified in too when he went off the bridge over there in Chappaquiddick. Up in front of us, right next to bus 1 on the right-hand side, there's a visitor center right there. They got another big bathroom there. And on the right-hand side, there's Espresso Love, the little coffee shop. And on the right-hand side is the Edgartown Diner. They got bathrooms in there too, and if you want to get something to eat, right there. Anywhere you go to the right of the bus, you're going to hit the water. It doesn't matter if you go right, or left. This is Church Street. This is where you're going to end up. And I'll give you a time to be back, please. And you don't have to lug everything with you. You can leave some belongings here.
Sandpiper, that's pretty. That's right. We don't get a break. Yes, yes. I can't think of the name of it either. Yeah, and we're on bus 29. That's all. On bus number 29. Joe. Yep. Joe on bus 29. Let's just take a peek through here. Chowder. Yep. Everybody talks about the chowder.
Well, the chowder is delicious, and no matter where you eat, you gotta get it.
Okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it for sure. This is so cool. Hey, how far are we from Church Street, by the way? Since we have meandered our way through.
Yeah, you walk back to Main Street,
Okay.
which is like maybe 3 blocks.
Okay.
Turn right.
Must line up with each other to be a traditional Cape Cod cottage. If you look at the house on the left-hand side, you see the chimneys to the right of the house. About 30 years out here because we're in a salt bath all the time out here. And those white cedar shingles are imported from Canada. They don't make them here. And if you ever come to this island again and want to stay here, I would choose this town to stay in. There are no ferry boats that drop tourists off here. It is much nicer than Oak Bluffs, and there's way more places to stay out here than there are in Oak Bluffs. But Oak Bluffs is a tourist town big time. Not as many tourists come to this town here. Because most tourists that come here stay in the town of Oak Bluffs where you came. That's like people that didn't take the tour. They don't know what to do with themselves out here. They're going to wander around aimlessly with nothing to do and nowhere to go. They don't know how to get around the island. The island's a lot bigger than people think it is. And it's a lot different than people think it is. The other side of the island's way above sea level. This island was formed by glaciers millions of years ago. So this side of the island's a big old sandbar out here. There are no rocks in the ground out here, and it doesn't go any higher than 30 feet above sea level out here. The other side of the island, where the glaciers started this island, they left all the highlands over 312 feet on the other side and billions of rocks even bigger than this bus. So the landscape is very diverse out here. We're going to head west now out to West Tisbury, and that is an agricultural town, and it's all farmland out in the woods out here. All farmland from here on out. And we have a bank on this island to protect the land out here from developers coming here and taking over this island. Because if we let developers come here and buy these old farms, this whole island would have been developed by modern people. So that's how we protect the land. We have a bank out here that we buy the land back. You all can look it up. I'll tell you all about it up here. I'll show you a piece of land that we bought back to protect this island. Since 1982, we bought 32 pieces back out here, all open to the public. Now this is the Eggetown Elementary School and the town library. Michelle Obama attends that library quite a bit. And when the presidents come here, like President Obama and President Clinton, this is where they had the Saturday morning radio addresses. And this is where all the TV trucks stay, the press and all that. Plus, a lot of presidents have been out here. Ulysses S. Grant was the first president to ever come out here. Then Bill Clinton came out here in the 90s. Then President Obama. President Teddy Roosevelt came to this island. 4 presidents have been on this island. Now there are no highways out here. The island is bigger than you think. It's about the same size as Bermuda, square miles. But they don't really have highways either, and we don't either. We have all small country roads. You can only get up to 45 miles an hour out here. And you're going to see out here in the middle of the island, it's all oak trees out here. When all these English people settled here, they had to farm the land, of course. And how they had to farm the land is by burning out the land, because they had no machinery back in the old days. So they had to burn out the land to farm it. So all the trees out here got burnt out by wildfires, and the dominant oak tree took over. So for about 8-10 miles now, you're going to see nothing but small oak trees everywhere, because wildfires wiped out the original trees out here. When we get up to West Tisbury, you'll see the original trees that used to grow out here. But all these trees are oak trees, and they all took over when the fires wiped out everything out here. It's called Martha's Vineyard Land Bank. And that's a bank that we formed on the island here to protect the land out here. Back in 1982, they made everybody on Martha's Vineyard give 2% of our taxes to the land bank. That's a minimum. A lot of people give a lot more money that have more money, and at the end of the year we get about $30 million in our account. And a piece of property like this guy got very elderly, he lost his wife, and he didn't want to run the farm no more. So instead of selling the farm to developers, he sold it to us, Martha's Vineyard Land Bank, for $10 million. Because at the end of the year, we get about $30 million in our account from everybody on this island putting money in the bank. And that identifies Land Bank right there, the green sign. See the land bank on it, and it says Sweetwater Farm. That's the name of the farm that used to be there. That's about 110 acres right there that you're all welcome to go on. Because all the property we buy back, and you can look it all up, there's 32 of them. Even from the Kennedys, even from the late Catherine Graham, famous Amos and his girlfriend Rebecca, all got land from them because they didn't want to have it developed, so they donated all their land. Out here in the 1600s, my wife's family is one of the first 10 families to move to this island. They've had land out here since 1671. And you can smell the sewer plant right here on the left. That's what just smells. Nasty. So out here on the bottom of the island where we are, on the left-hand side, they got great ponds out here. You can see them on your map. We're over the Eggetown Great Pond right now. And these bodies of water are brackish water. That means they are a mix of fresh and salt water. They got saltwater ponds, freshwater ponds, and brackish water ponds. And the state of Massachusetts takes care of these ponds out here because they monitor how much salt's in them. They take salinity counts in the water out here. When we get a lot of rain like we've had, they get too much fresh water in them, so they open them up to the ocean and let the old water out and the new water come in. Right off to the left-hand side, right down this road right there is how you get to President Obama's house. He lives on the Eggetown Great Pond right there. And you're going to see all the dips in the road here. Because thousands of years ago, or millions of years ago, when this island got formed, the water came way up into the land here. So that's why all these dips are in the road. They are called frost bottoms. So when we go in these dips in the road, we're basically at sea level. And it does get cold out here because you're at sea level. So every time we go over a body of water out here, you're going to see all these dips in the road. They are called frost bottoms, like Frosty the Snowman. Even like myself, I lived in here, but we had to stop our car here, get out of our car, they'd make us sit in chairs in the corner while they fished us and everything else, and they searched the whole car for bombs or anything. Then another half a mile in there, they'd do it again, because it's about a mile and a half out where Bill Clinton stayed. And you can see the sign right here. They incorporated this farm in 1834 and sold wool out of here. They exported wool from this farm in 1834. They had hundreds of sheep out here. You can see the name of the Native Americans that lived out here. So that picture in the bus here of that Native American lived out in this land back then. So all these English people that came here, they drove the Native Americans out of here because they brought diseases. So once they lived amongst them a little while, the Native Americans gave up all their land. Like when they lived here, they might have got a little bit of money and goods, but they gave it up to move to the west end because they didn't want to catch diseases. So look at a little cemetery up here too, where they buried themselves. Back then, they had no way to get back to town. They only had horse and buggy back then, so they could bury their own on the farm up here. There's a whole bunch of old headstones up here from the 16 to the 1800s up. Right, because they didn't have any mortar or cement back then to put in them. So all these stone walls up here are freestanding, whether they're modern or old. All the old ones have moss on them. The new ones like this one don't have moss. Like you still see there's no mortar or cement in it at all. Actually, it was an artwork to those farmers back then because they spent most of their time putting out stone walls. We're still at sea level. You're not going to see many rock walls until we get to the hilly side of the island. And this is the oldest operating store on the island. Same people are on the bench since it opened. Been there every day of my life anyway. But like I said, this is the last place to get anything, and it is very busy year-round because anybody that lives out here can get provisions here. In the summertime, it's very busy, bless you. They have church here, they have festivals, they have art shows, antique shows, they buy statues on the left. If you ever want to buy a fancy statue, put down the field gallery, pick out a statue, have it shipped to your yard. And out here on the island, some of you might have seen him on public broadcast before. I went to school with his son because he had the same name. Couple houses up here on the right-hand side. Historian David McCullough lived here all his life, but he passed away last year. Do I got anybody from Ohio on the bus today? Nobody from Ohio. If you look across the street on the left-hand side, you see the tree with no leaves on it. There's two of them there. That's the state tree of Ohio called the Buckeye tree. We call it the horse chestnut tree. That's the real name of it. They call it the Buckeye State because the horse chestnut resembles the eye of a deer or a buck. That's why they call it the Buckeye State. Many years ago, I used to be a TV repairman here. That's what I did most of my life out here to earn a living. When I got out of high school, I got my electronics license and I did a lot of boat radar and fixed televisions for a lot of people. The house on the right-hand side used to belong to Lenny Baker. And if you don't know Lenny Baker, he was the big blonde guy that wore the Hawaiian shirts and played the saxophone and the bass guitar in the band Sha Na Na. Lenny Baker. My last name is Scott, so I had a business called Scotty's TV out here. And for 30 years I went around this island and worked with many people. I had a couple of bands that said Beam Me Up Scotty on it. Now we're in Chilmark, the third largest town, a very old town, 1694. And this is an English name town, and it is very historical. Here on the left-hand side, this is a big cattle farm named the Gray Barn. They serve steaks here and everything, and have silos here. Mr. Obama rented a house out here the first 2 years he was president. And then he wanted to use the same house the third year, but it got sold during the winter months. And the people that bought it ended up being Republicans and didn't let him stay here. So the government had to scramble and find another house for him to borrow, which they did. They came up with one of the Democratic donors out here, but it wasn't very good security because they came up with it in emergency. So they only let him stay there 1 week because they had done security around the house. And it was on the edge of the road. So they cut his stay here short, 1 week. Then the fourth year, Mr. Obama didn't come out here because he got reelected. And all the other years he stayed on the other side of this town on one location. But he always spent his time out here as president in this town. Everywhere, not been touched. They don't have any provisions out here, so anybody that does live out here has to travel a long way. It is a drive zone. There's nothing. No gas, no food, no booze. But people can make jelly and juice out of them, but they don't make wine out of them here. All the grapes are gone by already. They were ripe in September, but all the birds ate them up. So now the grapevines are just left and they're losing their leaves already. So we're going to wind all through the hills here, way up to the top over there. That's all salt water, all tidal. The next area we're coming into is called Squid Market. We were just at Quista. This area up here is called Squid Names, I'm telling you. We're by wild manga grapes out here. And as they settle here, they throw them up. Cover every host tree out here. That's why we're called the Vineyard right there. That's our wild vineyards. That's why we're called Martha's Vineyard right there. And as we go up the hill on the right-hand side, look off in the distance, you're going to see the fishing village of Manipcha. This is our authentic fishing village, and this is where everybody exports their seafood from. So this part of the island is where they export over 1 million pounds of seafood. And seeing it is our authentic fishing village, this is where they filmed a little bit of the movie Jaws. Because Robert Shaw, who played Quint in the movie, this is where they had his fishing shop over there. You look across the water on the right, you'll see the Coast Guard station is the big white building. And that is the fishing village, way off to the right. On a day like today, the visibility is unlimited. You come up here like this morning, you saw all the fog, couldn't see your hand in front of your face out here. But hopefully the fog has lifted up here now. Because when it's foggy up here, they can't see much. I think I see fog up here already, I'm not sure, but I think I see some. That's why John F. Kennedy crashed his plane up here, because of the fog up here all the time. Lost his way up here in the fog and crashed his plane up here by his property. On the right-hand side used to be the Coast Guard station. We'll get a little bit of preview of the view we're going to see here. Out in front of us is called the Elizabeth. If you want to look it up, it's called the Red Gate Farm. It's about 385 acres, all to the left of us right here. She actually lived out here with her boyfriend. He had a yacht in the water that they went to also. He was very eccentric. His name was Maurice Templeton. And after she passed away, she handed the land down to John F. Kennedy Jr. But he didn't hang on to it long because he crashed his plane out here on July 19, 1999. He lost his own life, his wife Caroline, and sister-in-law Laura Bassett. All three of them passed away out here. They were coming over here for a wedding from New Jersey in John's little airplane that he used to fly, but he only had a license to look out the window called Visual Flight Rule. He didn't have a license called Instrument Flight Rule, IFR. So they left New Jersey about 8:30 at night, and he got over here by the island, and he wanted to fly over the house to show the girls an aerial view. But he got in a fog bank and he lost control of the plane a half a mile off the beach out here. So he lost control and fell in the water without knowing it. They found him in 130 feet of water upside down with seat belts on. And this is the entrance to the Kennedy property, the Red Gate Farm. Now it's owned by Caroline Kennedy Schlossberg, the ambassador to Australia. Minus 110 acres. If you look up the Red Gate Farm, you'll find out that the land bank just bought back 110 acres from them. Caroline Kennedy Schlossberg, who is a Kennedy, they couldn't afford the taxes here on all the land, so they tried to subdivide 110 acres. So we had to spend $34 million to buy it back, so you wouldn't see homes on it. You want to look it up, it's all information you can read.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me, guys, on beautiful Martha's Vineyard. It was truly a bucket list check off for me. This is definitely a trip I'll never forget. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and have a great week. Bye-bye.